Okay, so something to consider is a man by the name of Calvin L. Horton Jr. was a black man who was shot and killed by a white man named John Ripple last year during the uprising. I believe it was May 27th, 2020, and I'll put a correction below if I got that wrong. But he was shot and killed by a store owner, John Ripple, who had a shotgun and shot and killed Calvin L. Horton Jr. during the uprising while there were protests going on in the streets. John Ripple, a white man, shot into a crowd and killed Calvin L. Horton Jr. What happened next was John was taken to jail for less than 72 hours. And then he was released and no charges were made by Mike Freeman or anybody that was a part of Hennepin County. So the absence of justice in this situation is insanely overt, very loud, and just very plain and simple. And what we then began to do is we began to protest outside of Cadillac Pawn, John Ripple's pawn shop. And several holes that are in the story is Mike Freeman said he wanted witnesses to come forward. And you're not going to find a whole lot of people that said that they were complicit with protests at that time. They said they had no camera footage. However, you're legally supposed to have a surveillance camera when you have a pawn shop in Minneapolis. And they also said they couldn't find any evidence of what the shotgun bullets were, or they didn't retrieve the weapon. All of these pieces of missing evidence are glaring and, at the bare minimum, reckless. It comes off as intentional, and obviously we can't read anybody's mind and say what their intentions are, but it comes off as egregiously reckless, negligent, racist, and it's awful all around. So what we've been doing is we celebrated Calvin's 44th birthday last year, and just this past week we celebrated his 45th birthday. And his family came all the way up from Arkansas. His mother came all the way up from Arkansas. And if anybody is from the South, I was born in New Orleans, you know how long that drive is. And so there was a GoFundMe that was put together for his family, and I told them that I would do something to bring that to the people's attention and hopefully be able to draw some funds to their GoFundMe. So the link below for Calvin L. Horton Calvin L. Horton Jr.'s family GoFundMe is in the description below. It'll be the first link below this video. But this is also something to consider, because this is a city saying they don't want you to protest. This is a city saying they don't want you to speak when they commit modern day lynchings. They don't want you to report on it. They don't want you to talk about it. They don't want you to even look at it. And going further, they are going to criminalize you for doing so. And if you want to go further and say, oh, well, the city was, buildings were burning and businesses were affected. That store is going to reopen. And we won't be able to bring Calvin back. So if you're going to have one takeaway, know that. And you can help his family in the link below.